Good day to everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, so the first topic for today is Bryant Reeves. Okay, the original 50 of the Grizzlies. Not Zach Randolph, but Bryant Reeves was the original 50. Sorry. Anyway, Bryant Reeves played at Oklahoma for Eddie Sutton, and they lost to Michigan in the Fab Five, I believe, in 1992, if I'm not mistaken. So they lost to Michigan in the Fab Five in the tournament in 1992, but he had a pretty solid, pretty good career at Oklahoma under Eddie Sutton. And with the sixth pick in the 1995 draft, they selected Bryant Reeves, the Vancouver Grizzlies, now the Memphis Grizzlies, selected him with the sixth pick overall, their first overall selection ever. And so he improved. He was improving his first three seasons. As a rookie in 1996, he was coming off the bench earlier in the year, but worked his way into the starting lineup, and he ended up averaging 13 points per game. His rookie season, 95-96, you may remember that was the season where the Grizzlies led the Bulls by 12. And that's when Michael Jordan said, it's enough of this. It's enough of this bull crap. Then Michael took over, scored about 12 to 14 straight points, and there you go. Boom. But believe it or not, the Grizzlies actually started out the 95-96 season 2-0. Then I believe they lost 9 straight games. And I believe they had losing streaks of 19 and 23, if I'm not mistaken, that year. So yeah, it started out 2-0, lost 9 straight, had long losing streaks of, I believe, 19 and 23 that year. And so, yeah. But Bryant Reeves continued to improve. He went from 13.3 in 1996 to 16.2 in 1997. Then he upped it a little bit more in 1998 by averaging 16.3 points per game. And Shaquille O'Neal said that Bryant Reeves was his toughest matchup. They asked Shaq why. And they said, Shaq said, guards who don't play defense, they always tell bigs to show. So he would show, Shaq would show. And Bryant Reeves would take he said Bryant Reeves would take one of the ugliest Donald Duck looking jumpers he has ever seen. And they were always going to win. So Shaq is going in at halftime. He's looking at the stats. Shaq, 15. Big Country, 26. So yeah. So he was steadily improving his first 3 seasons despite playing on a team that was not any good at all. Which is probably why Greg Anthony said, I don't remember anything good about the Vancouver Grizzlies. If you watch that NB 90s show, the NBA 90s show, they call it NBA 80's, NBA 90s. No. Greg Anthony said he doesn't remember anything good about the Vancouver Grizzlies. So he was improving steadily his first 3 seasons. Then the 1998-99 lockout came. And You know how they say the lockout ruined a lot of careers. I mentioned Sean Kemp. Well, apparently Bryant Reeves. Apparently got to Bryant Reeves too, because play wasn't resumed until February of 1999, and they gave Bryant Reeves extensive time, and he reported to training camp 315 pounds. You know, they say Sean Kemp came into training camp 99 around the same weight. And Grizzly teammates will often say Bryant Reeves would come in out of shape, and he would have to play his way into shape every season. Okay. But the lockout really hurt a couple of guys' careers. The Grizzlies did draft Antonio Daniels in 1997 to pair him with Big Country, but Antonio Daniels really didn't work out the way the Grizzlies wanted to, so they traded him to San Antonio, where he ironically was a championship that year. Okay, so and that was the year that the Grizzlies drafted Mike Bibby, and they had also taken Sharif Abdur-Rahim 2 years earlier in 1996. So who knows what would have become of Abdur-Rahim, Big Country, and Mike Bibby. Okay, who knows what would have became. But like I said, the 98-99 lockout happened. Big Country came in out of shape, overweight, and he only played 25 games that year, and he averaged 10.8 points per game. Then his production started going down even further to 8.9 in 2000. Then in his final season, 8.3 in 2001. When the Grizzlies moved to Memphis, he played in only 2 preseason games. He played in only 2 preseason games before a back injury. Found some herniated discs in his back. So a back injury ended his career, and he ended up retiring without it really having played a single game in Memphis for the Grizzlies. Okay, he played in 2 preseason games, but that was it. That was pretty much it of what he played. Hey, so if he could have just stayed healthy, could have came into training camp in shape instead of having to play his way into shape, I would probably say he probably would have played about another 5 years. I would say another 5 years. I would say, but no, I would just say this: the big 3 we will never know. Bibby, Abdur-Rahim, Big Country. We'll never know. So, and I just want to touch on the 80's Bengals for a little minute. Were the 80's Bengals really that good, or were they just that solid? Okay. The 80's Bengals. Okay. Let me run through some other things for you. 1980, they finished 6-10. 1981, they finished 12-4. Went to the Super Bowl, lost to the 49ers. 1982, they went 7-2 in the strike-shortened 82 season. They lost 44-17 to the Jets in the wild card. 1983, they went 7-9. 1984, they went 8-8. 1985, they went 7-9. 1986, they went 10-6, missed the playoffs. 1987, they went 4-11. The 87 strike. The 87 strike here. 1988, they went 12-4, ran into the San Francisco 49ers again. 1989, they finished 8-8. So were the Cincinnati Bengals really that good in the 80s, or were they just that solid of a team? Because I remember watching top 10 worst teams on NFL Network, and they said the 80s Bengals had plenty to celebrate in the 1980s. Well, they went to the playoffs 3 times, made the Super Bowl twice, and lost. So were they really that good, or were they really that solid? Because they missed the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. They missed the playoffs 7 times at the 1980s. Okay. So again, were they really that good, or were they really that solid? Okay. So, they made the playoffs in 1990, beat Houston, lost to the Raiders. Then came the 91 season when they lost 45-14 to the Denver Broncos. And then after that, rest is history. The 90s Bengals. And I'll just say this in closing. I remember when they played the Cowboys in 1994, and David Shula was coaching the Bengals, and Barry Switzer was coaching the Cowboys. Barry Switzer actually compared the Cincinnati Bengals to Iowa State, which almost cost the Cowboys because they almost lost that game. They won 23-20. The Cowboys won 23-20, but it almost cost. But Barry Switzer's comments almost cost the Cowboys that game to one of the worst teams of the 90s. Okay. But anyway. All right. That's it for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. Have a good night, y'all. I am out of here. Peace. God bless.